everyone, it's Allison here, and today I want to introduce you all to a new series that I'm starting up and that I'm going to run as long as it takes, but probably at least through the entire month of July. And this series is what I call my back to school special, and it's for bullet journaling for students. One of the number one things that I hear a lot from busy students is, oh, I don't have time to bullet journal. I don't have time to make things pretty. Or how can I track this? How can I track that? And keep track of all my schoolwork, all my personal stuff. And so that is kind of one of my goals in regards to this series, is to help students realize that it is possible to keep track of everything they need in a bullet journal system, or really any planner system if you decide you want to go with a different planner. But this is where I got started. Like, bullet journaling was the first time I had a planning system really work for me as a student. And so part of the reason, to give you a little backstory on myself, why I'm interested in this, why I think I'm able to speak about this a bit more, is I am currently a graduate student. I'm pursuing a PhD. I have now finished 3 years of grad school. I did 4 years of undergrad, and on top of that, my last 2 years of high school I also spent at a university. So I have been in the university system for a very long time, and I'm working on, well, finishing that off in the next couple of years. But I tried using regular planners pretty much all the way through undergrad, all the way through my first year of grad school, partway through my second year of grad school, and then about a year and a half ago in February, I found the bullet journal system. And so once I found it, I immediately was like, okay, I got to get started on this. It was the middle of term. So if you happen to stumble across this video while you're in the middle of your school term, that's okay. That is seriously okay. I started my first bullet journal, which is this one right on top here, halfway through winter quarter. And it helped me out so much. So I want to take the opportunity to talk about bullet journaling as a student, and bullet journaling in a way that doesn't hinder your ability to focus on your work. And a lot of that will do a lot of setup up front, so that way there's not so much setup in the middle. And I'll discuss what I mean by all of that as I go through this series, and as we talk about spread ideas. But I want to include more than just the usual coursework with this. As probably all of you know, coursework is just a minor fraction of what's included in what you do as a student. You have your classes, your homework, your studies, your extracurricular activities, like, say, learning an instrument, or I don't know, church, or a sport, or just something else that isn't necessarily your academics. You have a life outside of school as well, on top of these extracurriculars and your schoolwork, and sometimes that life you have to plan for. You never know when things might happen. And so my goal with all of this is to help show you how to organize this information more in a school structure that, for me, I personally find easier to organize with. However, at the same time, I am going to link down to Ryder Carroll's original bullet journal video in the description below. because that should absolutely be where you start when it comes to bullet journaling. And if you honestly believe that method works for you, then I've already done my job. However, I know a lot of you, if you've stumbled across this video, you're already part of the planning community and you've gotten to see a lot of people ask these questions. You've seen all the pretty spreads, and I want to help contribute to those spread ideas and make them a little more minimalist, I guess. And for me, I think a little more organized. But at the same time, I do encourage you to organize things as you wish. So yeah, before going forward with this series, there's a few things that I want you all to consider. And if you don't mind sharing some of your answers down in the comments below, I would really appreciate that, because that could help guide me in how I handle my videos going forward. So first question that I want you all to think about and to answer is, what do I need? So what do I need to track and keep track of in my planner? Like, for example, as a student, I need to keep track of assignments. I need to keep track of project deadlines, office hours, or I don't know, say for example, you're worried about your mental health. You need to keep track of your mood. Things like that. Things that you legitimately need, and it's a good idea to check in regularly on. So that's what I mean when I say need. Now, another question I want you to consider. What do I want? So, what do you want to get out of your planner? And what I mean by that is, what do you want to track? Do you want to track your habits? Do you want to have a monthly view? Do you not care to have a monthly view and just would rather not deal with months? Do you want to have a creative outlet? Do you want to, I don't know, want to have a cleaning spread, which might turn into a need as you get towards the end of the school year? Do you want to keep track of moon phases? Do you, some of these wants could actually very well be needs for you. But ultimately, what do you want? What would kind of just be extra that you don't necessarily need, and so you could potentially cut if you just don't have time to worry about planning for it. So, next question. And this kind of pertains to one of the comments I made just a minute or two ago. Do I care what month it is? This is a huge one for me, because this was what literally flipped my switch, I guess. So if I grab my first bullet journal here and I open it up, generally in Writer Carol's video, his monthly log includes the first 6 months of the year, or the next 6 months of wherever you're starting from. Honestly, when I'm in the middle of the school term, I don't care what month it is. What I care about is, what week and term am I in? It's so much easier for me to keep track of what week of term I'm in and follow the patterns that usually pop up in a school term based upon what week it is. I can tell you in, say, a 10-week quarter system where each quarter is 10 weeks long, generally speaking, midterms will occur between week 4 and week 8. Where if you have 2 midterms, it's 4 and 7 or 5 and 8. But if you only have 1 midterm, you either have it week 5 or week 6. These are just things that reoccur and that I see time and time again. And it was a lot easier for me to have my future log just reflect the weeks of term. But I'll talk more about spreads and future logs in a later video. But the truth of the matter is that I decided to just like dive off the deep end and be like, I don't care what month it is. And because knowing the date is nice and all, but ultimately for where I'm at in school, like in my school progress, I don't care what month it is on any given day. So that's why I ask this question. Next question that you should consider. What has worked for you before? So in other words, in planners that you've used in the past, what has been working? And to the contrary, what hasn't been working? So what has worked, what doesn't work, and try to think about why they work or why they don't work. That will be important information when you go forward in the bullet journal system. And as a final question that I think you should ask yourself is, what do you want to get out of planning? This is a very important question. There are some people who just like to make lists for the sake of making lists, and that's fine. But I know some of you are like, okay, well, I want to be able to organize my actions. I want to develop better time management. I want to be able to delegate better. These are things that you could potentially get from planning. And that's part of what this roadmap is going to be as I go in and talk about bullet journaling for students. And I hope you all join in on this discussion with me. I would really appreciate it. So yeah, that's what I want you all to consider. And please give me a response before the next video. But if you are interested and want to see this series, click the like button and also subscribe to my channel so that way you can get notified when each episode of this series comes out. And yeah, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you all next time. Till then, take care. Bye.